Yo, what's going on, guys? We got a little bit of news regarding Star Wars Eclipse. This is a game that I'm really looking forward to, more so than, Jedi Survivor 3 or whatever, any other game. I think the trailer looked, spoke for itself. Anyway, Star Wars Eclipse is set in the High Republic era, centuries before popular Star Wars content, allowing for a unique narrative detached from saturated events. Yeah, so it takes place about, I think it was like 200-something years before the prequel trilogy. The game will feature Yoda, who may play a significant role in the story, although the specifics are yet to be revealed. Quantic Dream has the opportunity to explore different time periods within the High Republic, showcasing Yoda's journey as a Jedi Master or his altered interactions with other iconic characters. The studio faces the challenge of creating lore that aligns with Yoda's established legacies. And that's really something that I'm worried about. I really want them to make sure that they adhere to the lore of Yoda and they don't go off path and make him weird or something like that. Set in the underutilized High Republic era, Star Wars Eclipse will take its players to a version of a galaxy far, far away, centuries before the events of the most popular Star Wars content. While that precludes most known characters from the franchise from making a cameo, Star Wars Eclipse will feature at least one well-known character, highlighted via a scene in its teaser trailer that showed off a pensive Yoda in his more formative years. Now that EA's exclusivity deal with Star Wars has drawn its conclusions, fans should expect a wider offering of Star Wars titles in the upcoming years. One of the first announced games untethered from the decade-long contract was Quantic Dream's Star Wars Eclipse, which will have players drawn into a narrative detached from the events of the Clone Wars and Galactic Civil War. Star Wars' prosperous golden era, the High Republic, was a time when the Jedi flourished and the Sith were relegated to the dark, hidden corners of the galaxy. Its timeline was far from utopic, however, and Quantic Dream should have no trouble manufacturing a story rife with drama for Star Wars Eclipse. Yeah, so the Jedi are thriving at this point, but the Sith, they're obviously still around in the shadows, right? They're still there. You go to, Palpatine, Plagueis, Tenebris, and Tenebris's master, and it's just like goes on and on and on. They were just hiding. It was the rule of two that Bane had created, or rather really kind of copied from Revan in that hologram. So while, the Sith may not be around in this game, there are still some characters that are really, really cool looking, really, in the trailer. I mean, you had those weirdo gray dudes who kind of look like maybe even Grisk or something like that. And there are some villains that can be more devastating than Sith. Maybe not as cool, but cool in other ways, like the Yuuzhan Vong, who used organic weapons to destroy the whole galaxy. And guys that are impervious to the Force, I mean, you had the Calamari with Thrawn. I mean, you throw a couple of those on you and the Force doesn't work around you for, however many meters. Star Wars High Republic takes place between 50 and 350 years before the Clone Wars. Okay, cool. So we could actually get jumping to different time periods, maybe even as Yoda. Its timeline is chronicled in a series of books and other various scattered pieces of Star Wars media, but to other eras of Star Wars, it is a comparatively blank slate that Quantic Dream will be able to flex its narrative chops within. There are iconic characters alive during the High Republic, including Jabba the Hutt and Chewbacca, but none more prevalent than Yoda, who lived to the ripe old age of 900 and was already a celebrated and adept Jedi during the height of the High Republic, albeit slightly less revered. The significance of the role Yoda will play in Star Wars Eclipse is unknown, but whatever it may be, Quantic Dream will have to tread carefully as it builds out the lore of what might be Star Wars' most celebrated figure. Well, yeah, that's no doubt, Yoda's probably one of the most iconic characters in the whole world. Even if you don't watch Star Wars, you know who Yoda is. He's like the Mr. Miyagi, essentially, of Star Wars, and Mr. Miyagi is Yoda is the Mr. Miyagi in Karate Kid, or vice versa. Yeah, so, I don't know what they're going to do with Yoda. They might just have him as some sort of counselor or guidance guy or something, when you're going through the Jedi Temple. But my question is, if it's 50 to 350 year gap, how is your guy is he gonna be some alien or something? And he has a really long lifespan? As we know, Chewie and Jabba are alive, and those guys live to be very old. I think Wookiees can live to be up to 500 or something like that, 300 to 500 or something like that. So yeah, they're definitely around, these guys, and I'm wondering how they're going to incorporate those dudes in the game, because Jabba wasn't at his height of power like he was in the original trilogy. He might have been in some sort of other state. Who knows? Like maybe he might have been, much younger where his family or whatever was, I don't know, he's like the rich kid. There are a number of ways that Yoda could be worked into the plot of Star Wars Eclipse. The game's reveal left much to the imagination without so much as a central protagonist that fans could begin to pin a theoretical plot to. What has been announced is that the game will take place in the Outer Rim during the High Republic, presumably in a sector of planets outside the lawful grip of the Republic. Quantic Dream CEO David Cage has also been explicit that Star Wars Eclipse will be a massive departure from the studio's previous efforts, so those expecting Detroit Become Human set in Star Wars may be in for a shock. That's unfortunate. Detroit Become Human is one of my favorite games of all time. Quantic Dream has plenty of options for Yoda's role. Alright, well tell me the freaking options, goddammit. Since the High Republic encompasses 3 centuries, the story of Star Wars Eclipse in relation to Yoda is hard to pin down. The era's onset, players could witness Yoda at the dawn of his status as a Jedi Master. You know what always kind of confused me, guys, is that in Return of the Jedi it says, "For 800 years, Jedi have I trained," or something like that. And he's 900 at that point. So that means he was training Jedi when he was 100 years old. And Grogu is like 55 at this point. Why is he still like literally an infant? It doesn't make much sense. You'd think maybe he's going to go through a growth spurt or something, but I don't know, man. 50 years and already you're going to be training Jedi? Maybe Yoda was an anomaly. I don't really know. At the era's onset, players could witness Yoda at the dawn of his status as a Jedi Master, navigating the politics of the Jedi Council with a relatively youthful naivety. Star Wars Eclipse maybe had a dark side. Star Wars Eclipse could also unfold during the end stages of the High Republic, as Yoda trains his young Padawan Count Dooku. Bro, please don't get me hyped like that. Long before his descent to the dark side. Whichever route Quantic Dream goes, it will be carving into stone the canonical origins of a legendary figure, which is no small task. And that's really dangerous, right? They could absolutely make something super amazing, and they could make something just shit, And this is about Yoda. It's not like, you're changing up Chewbacca or something like that. No disrespect, but I mean, come on. Yoda's Yoda. Star Wars Eclipse heralds a new age for Star Wars games, with its unveiling and eventual release holding high stakes for fan reception in a post-EA exclusivity landscape. Yoda might be one of the game's sole connective tissues to the rest of the franchise, and doing right by the iconic figure should be high on Quantic Dream's priority list. Fans will hopefully not have to wait much longer for more information on Star Wars Eclipse, though with a tentative release window extending into 2026, it could be a while. Dude, why 2026, man? This game looks so freaking sick. Let's just give it to us now. But yeah, look, they could do anything with Yoda at this point. I hope it's gonna be good. I mean, it's really a toss-up, like, especially with these legendary characters like that. You have the wrong dude or girl just absolutely destroying a character for their own whatever narrative or agenda or whatever they think is the way it's supposed to be, and it could really like permanently ruin the character for a lot of people. So it's definitely a sensitive thing, and I mean, you could go on the other end of that and you could make it so amazingly perfect where it really evolves the character, embellishes them, turns the saturation up, and just makes them look like such a better character and more of a badass, and really kind of rounds out their whole story. I think that can be done as well, and we've seen that done with, Anakin Skywalker in the Clone Wars, for example, really helped his character, right? A lot of people were able to see a different side of Anakin, like, oh, wow, this is actually totally different. Those who couldn't connect with him in the prequels, which, I mean, I did perfectly, I understood what was going on, but I'm also like a diehard Anakin fan, and I just get the character. Like, I just understand him. I've read the material, read the books, the comics, and I put myself in it, and I understand, like, why he is the way he is. But a lot of people might not feel that way. So, yeah, this is definitely something that could happen for sure. Now, one thing I don't want them to do is for him to have some sort of, like, I don't know, like a weird student or something that just kind of detracts from him training Count Dooku. I don't know, like Count Dooku's mom. I don't know. It makes me, well, that wouldn't be Count Dooku's mom. She's freaking on Sereno. She's not even Force sensitive. So there are definitely things in this game that could be really dangerous. It just comes down to the writing. And as we see with Ahsoka, for example, the stories and the episodes are only really evolving the characters. And I think that's a brilliant thing. But then you have, other projects that really de-evolve the characters and kind of just retract from their overall oomph and their mojo and their story. And I think that can be really detrimental to not just the character, but also Star Wars and the franchise and, the fans' ability to connect with them, which that's the most important thing. That's what you got. So anyways, that's my thoughts on this game. I am the most excited for this game than any other Star Wars game to date. But we have a lot more to talk about in another video, so I'm going to get to that. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know what you think about Yoda's journey. And I'm happy that they're going to make him a bit more of a important character as they should in the game. May the force be with you guys. See you next time.